Welcome to the Galvanize with Gavin podcast. This is your host, baseball player and entrepreneur, Gavin Johns. This podcast will empower you to reach your fullest potential in life. Inspirational stories, keys to success, and practical methods to overcome life's challenges will be revealed. I encourage you to be the light in the lightning and spark a positive change in the world today.
How's everyone doing? We got Galvanize with Gavin here. Got an excellent guest here today. Special guest, Ali Verzani. Ali, I'm gonna list some of her accomplishments academically and athletically, and it's very impressive. So bear with me, but you're gonna want to hear this. So to start, Ali, she's from Iowa, volleyball player, outside hitter. We met at Tennessee Tech University, and just very impressive. She was 2020, 2021 OVC Scholar Athlete of the Year, Woman of the Year, 3-time OVC Academic Medal of Honor, 4.0 GPA, MBA, which is Masters of Business Administration graduate. She was also 2019 All OVC first team. She was one of the captains of the volleyball team. She was the vice president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC. And in high school, she actually played 4 sports. All 4 years, she competed in volleyball, basketball, softball, and track and field. And currently, she is an associate respiratory territory manager, which for those who don't know, and I didn't know at first, it is a medical device sales rep for a company called Olympus. And so she just started recently after she graduated in college, and she's looking to continue to learn about the business and continue to strive in her career. So without further ado, everyone, welcome Ali Verzani. Ali, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for the intro.
Yeah, no problem. So how have things been?
It's been good. I just relocated to the Cincinnati metro area for my job, and I really like it up here. The Cincinnati area is similar to what I'm used to back home. I mean, I'm back in the Midwest for the most part. I actually live in northern Kentucky, but right on the border there, so pretty much what I'm used to.
Awesome. So so if you wouldn't mind, sharing with everyone, how did you start? Volleyball seemed to be the thing that you've honed in on and focused in, on college. What kind of got you into volleyball? What's your story like? How you got started in volleyball?
So I actually started playing volleyball in 4th grade, which is surprisingly a late start date for most girls. I moved out to a smaller school outside of like the bigger city where I was from, and all of the girls in my grade played volleyball, and I was like, oh, well, I want to play volleyball. So then it just became my favorite slowly. I just love the fast-paced game, how every play is different, and the camaraderie within the girls is awesome. I mean, you don't have other female sports where we go to a middle circle and slap each other's butts all the time, so it's a lot of fun.
That's cool. A lot of goals in your college career. So I wanted to ask, obviously that doesn't happen by accident. It happens by a lot of hard work, a lot of focus. Going into college, what kind of goals did you set for yourself, and how did you even start to set out to achieve those goals?
So I'm one of those people that likes to set new goals as I go. I think in high school, my goal was to just get a scholarship to college. I didn't want to pay for school. My dad played football in college, and he just always kind of set that standard for me that hey, if you don't get school paid for, I'm not paying for it. So figure it out. So I was like, okay. So that was the first mission. I didn't know which avenue I was going to take. Like you said, I played 4 sports in high school, and I thought about pursuing each one of them at the collegiate level. So finally honed in on volleyball. And that took a while too. I went to junior college and I played volleyball and basketball because I didn't know. And I was all about that first goal of getting it paid for. And that was the way to do it. So I did that, and then I decided, volleyball is a sport for me. So that was the first goal. I was like, okay, let's get better at volleyball. Let's have my first off season in my whole life, because playing 4 sports, you don't have an off season. In your off season, you're in season in different sports. So I was like, I'm gonna have a whole year to just play volleyball. So I'm only 5'10", so one of my big goals was to jump higher, hit harder, etc. So the weight room has always been a big thing for me. I love to get in the weight room and just get after it. Like, it's a lot of fun. And so, yeah, just increasing my vertical has always been a goal. And then doing that got me to Tennessee Tech. And then, yeah, just kind of kept setting goals as we went.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think a lot of people can take a lot from that. It's like, right when you start, you don't have to have every, one of the goals listed. And as you do more and, you achieve that success, it gives you confidence to, set new goals and new standards. And I think that's definitely something I've seen from you, is that, you are a high standard person, and you hold yourself to a high standard. Sometimes, it does put pressure on us, but it also, pushes us to become the best we can be. And I think so many people, watching this podcast can learn a bunch from that, is like, with that belief and setting those big goals and dreaming big, but also, hey, but
Sorry,
also
my cat wanted to be on.
no, you're good. But also, working hard to achieve those goals. So I guess that's the next thing I wanted to ask, what does that kind of work ethic look like? And maybe for some younger athletes, what does it take to achieve something like that?
I think work ethic is an essential piece to being a successful athlete. I think that for me, that comes naturally because I'm so competitive, and that competition aspect is present in my life, in the workforce, in the weight room, in practice. It doesn't matter. I'm walking around and I want to be the first one in line. Like, I'm just a competitive girl. So like, that work ethic came naturally because if someone was on my heels, that just pushed me so hard. Like, I was not going to lose to that person. I didn't want to. And my teammates, my friends make fun of me for it because I'm just so ridiculously competitive. But I just think that competition, that drive that I have internally has pushed me so far. And I just encourage others to take every practice as a competition. Like, you're not playing against another team, but you're competing against yourself every single day. So, and I'm really thankful for the coaches that I've had along the way that helped me like turn my competitive drive into something so great. Like, if there's someone that I would point out, like Matt Hands was our strength coach at Tennessee Tech, as you know, and he was just phenomenal in that thought of like, Allie, you need to increase your numbers every single day if you want to reach these goals. We mapped out ways to do that. And it wasn't just, putting more weight on the bar. It was when you're not in the weight room and when you're eating and when you're doing different things, that all plays a part in how successful you're going to be on the court and in life and things like that. So I just, I'm on a little tangent there, but just being competitive is really, it's an advantage everywhere in life, I think.
Definitely. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate that. And I think a lot of people can take a lot out of that. I definitely know that. So the next question, you kind of talked about, one person maybe that has motivated you, your strength coach. Like you said, there's been a lot of people in your life that have helped you, get to where you've become. So I wanted to ask, if there was in particular, if you had to pick maybe one event or experience that changed your life for the better, or just inspired you to become, what you became or continue to become, what would you say that would be if you had to?
It's tough to pick one, but I think one pivotal thing that happened in my life was tearing my ACL. That sounds silly, but an injury like that where you're sidelined for 6 months is tough. And it happened to me this summer before college. So I'm coming out of high school, big name in a small school. I graduated with 45 kids. So, and I played all the sports, and I was going to college to play sports, and, I was on top of the world. And then to just be so humbled by something that you had no control over. I think that I needed to be humbled. I think God did that to, I don't want to say did that to me, but he placed that upon me for a reason, because I was just so headstrong and thought that it was my world and everyone else was living in it. And I think that having the opportunity to see the game from the sideline and see just life from the sideline, it felt like was a really humbling experience that changed my attitude. I think that it just made me so much more grateful for the things that I have and just, really put perspective into me. And I think that really changed my direction in life. So if I had to pinpoint one thing, I would have to say that.
Wow. That definitely shows a lot about your character as well. Saying that an instance like that was something that made you better in the long run. And that's pretty powerful. So thanks for sharing that. And, just from my experience as well, injuries, they're a part of, athletics, but they're no fun, any time. And a lot of people don't realize that the injuries or whatever keeps you sidelined is actually more mentally challenging than physically, actually come back and recovering, rehabbing from those injuries. The mental part, just being away from the game, like you said, taking that humility, and gaining a new perspective and appreciation for the sport. For when you come back to the sport, you don't take a day for granted, you know what I mean? Because you had it taken away from you. So yeah, that's inspiring. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Definitely.
You're welcome.
So, outside of sports, outside of work, what are some of your passions and hobbies? What do you like to do for fun? What takes up some of your time?
I love spending time with my friends. I think that's an easy one, but so for work recently, I've had to spend a lot of time training and doing some virtual things. Sorry, that was my cat. Some virtual things where I've had to stay in my desk, and I just, like, after I'm done with work, the work day, I want to go out. I want to see people. I just absolutely love to interact with others. It really doesn't matter if there's someone I've known my whole life or someone I just met at that restaurant. I'm just such a social butterfly. So I love just human interaction. That's one thing I'm very passionate about, I'd say. And then I have a shopping addiction. I just love to buy new things. I love to spend time shopping. That's ridiculous. But so I just moved to my new home and I've just had a blast decorating this house. So I just walk around Home Goods or different places and just have visions of what I want my house to look like and whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah. No. So I have to ask, I've been, finishing up all the Galvanize with Gavin video podcasts by asking each and every person, what, if you had to pick, what would be your favorite motivational quote?
This is a good question. Okay, let me think. My favorite quote I would have to say is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And there's a little story behind that quote and why I like it so much. So I was just a little junior high girl falling in love with volleyball. Like I said, I started late in the game, I felt like, and the high school coach at the time invited me to go to one of the summer practices with all of the high school girls. And so I felt super cool, but also super nervous. And we did a serving competition, just a simple little game, and I won. I was 12 and I won, and I thought it was so cool. And the game was you serve the ball at the t-shirts. The t-shirts are laid out on the court. So it was like a serving accuracy game. So I served it right at this t-shirt, and the t-shirt had that quote on it with the volleyball on it.
Wow.
And I thought it was just the coolest thing ever because the high school coach gave it to me, the little girl, and I wore that with pride everywhere. And I just really, that quote stuck with me because it was so true. And especially just, being an undersized college athlete and being someone who wasn't naturally given a wingspan of 6'5", it's tough to play Division I college volleyball and hang with the best of them, So I just always kept that in mind that, if I outwork them, it doesn't matter how big they are. It doesn't matter what they were naturally given. I'm going to outwork them.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That fires me up. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. And thanks for coming on Galvanize with Gavin video podcast. It was a lot of fun learning more about you. And yeah, definitely. Thanks for coming on, Allie.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you all for tuning in to the Galvanize with Gavin podcast. I hope you were inspired and empowered to reach your fullest potential in life. For more resources, visit gavinjohns.com. For businesses interested in sponsoring the podcast, visit gavinjohns.com/sponsor. Thank you all, and God bless.